Alright, so let's try to look at this additional mathematics paper 1, a paper which was written in 2025. So the question is saying the lines with equations y plus 5x is equal to 10 and y minus x is equal to 4 cut the x-axis or the x and y-axis at a and b respectively. So meaning to say the equation for x is this one, then the equation for y is this one, and this is representing A and this is representing B. And that is one thing that you have to know here. So the midpoint of A and B are or is 5p minus 1 comma q plus 4. So meaning to say this is representing A and this is part of B. Then find the value of P and the value of Q. So let's collect data on what we have here. So the midpoint for A is going to be equal to 5p minus 1. Then the midpoint for B is going to be equal to q plus 4. Then what else do we have here? We have the equation for A. So the equation for A is y plus 5x being equal to 10, which is representing x. Then for B, the equation for B is y minus x being equal to 4, and the entire thing here is representing y. So what do we have here? We have the Cartesian plane or xy plane. So we know to say that this is representing x, which is A. So this is going to be A, and the equation that we have here is y plus 5. Then this is going to be equal to 10. And this is B. So for B, we have y minus x being equal to 4. Alright. So you all know to say that in the y-axis, x is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 in the y-axis and y is equal to 0 in the x-axis. So our aim here is to find the midpoint of these 2 points here. So what are we going to do? Let's find the values. Let me start with the one for A. So for A, what do we have? We have y being equal to 0, so I can put 0 here. Then what is going to be my value of x? My value of x is going to be 2. So in terms of the coordinates, we can say this is x and this is y, which is 0. So you can say it is 2, 0. So this is for A. And then for B, we can put 0 where we are having x. So what are we going to have? Y minus 0 being equal to 4. So meaning to say y is going to be equal to 4. So in terms of the coordinates, we are going to have 0, 4. So these are the coordinates for B. Okay, so we can easily find the midpoint because what we have been given here is the midpoint of A and the midpoint of B. So for us to find these values, we have to find the midpoints of these 2 points between A and B. So midpoint, it can be somewhere here. So what is the formula for midpoint? So midpoint is going to be equal to the midpoint for A, comma the midpoint for B. Or you can say it can be equal to the midpoint for x, comma the midpoint for y. And in short, this is going to be equal to x1 plus x2, then divided by 2, then comma y1 plus y2, then divided by 2. So this is the formula. Okay, so according to the coordinates that we have, so for the first part here we had 2, 0, and then for the second part we had 0, 4. So this can be x1, this can be y1, this can be x2, y2. So we can just insert here. Okay. Or if we want, we can just say midpoint for A is going to be equal to x1 plus x2, then divided by 2. Then the midpoint for B is going to be equal to y1 plus y2, then divided by 2. So the reason why I'm putting midpoint for A and midpoint for B. This is because A is in the x-axis, and then B is in the y-axis. So that's the reason why I'm taking x, and the reason why I'm taking y here. So what is the midpoint for M? Let me say, what is the midpoint for A? So the midpoint for A, if you remember very well what I've said here, the midpoint for A is this one, 5p minus 1. So I can put that one here. So 5p minus 1. Then this is going to be equal to, my x1 here is 2. My x2 is 0. Then divided by 2. Okay, so let me just erase that one. So this one has to be like this, yeah, and then divided by 2. And then let's come to MB, which is the midpoint for B. So the midpoint for B is Q plus 4. So I can also put that one, Q plus 4. And this is going to be equal to x1, let me say y1 is 0, and then y2 is 4, and then divided by 2. So we can do the computation here. We have p5 minus 1, then this is going to be equal to 2 divided by 2, because 2 plus 0 is 2. Then 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this one can go to the other side. And then what are we going to have? We're going to have 2 here, because 1 plus 1 is 2. And then divided by 5. So p is going to be equal to 2 over 5. So I have found the first value. What about this one? Q plus 4 is going to be equal to, so 0 plus 4 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. Then Q is going to be equal to 2 minus 4 is going to give us negative 2. So Q is going to be equal to negative 2. So this is how you're supposed to find